Hey everyone, I am the Aussie IT contractor, and this time I'm going to be talking about KPIs. The three major reasons that drove me to give up permanent employment and go contracting were a lack of career progression, a lack of income, and how poorly I felt that KPIs were being used in the organisation that I was working for. Confession time, I've been trying to make this video for about a year now, and I just couldn't work out why it wasn't coming together. It started to sound self-serving and self-pitying, and maybe KPIs weren't that bad. And then I came to the realisation what was blocking me is my experience of the organisation that I was working for, how badly they used KPIs, how badly they abused KPIs, that it was a really difficult subject for me to talk about. And then I wondered whether I should make the video at all. But I think I should, because maybe people can give me their opinions on how KPIs work for them. Maybe people have had similar experiences to me. So I'd really like people to make some comments below around how KPIs have worked in your organisation and whether they're universally bad or whether they were just really badly implemented where I was working. So I wanted to understand how KPIs came to be and what those responsible for the development of the management theories that we use to support KPIs were trying to do. And I found once again that the road to hell is indeed paved with good intentions.
Let's take a brief look at the timeline of the development of scientific management theory. Between 1880 and 1900, Frederick Taylor attempted to improve workers' performance by standardizing work methods. He also proposed rewarding workers for improved productivity rather than berating workers for mistakes. From 1943 to 1987, Abraham Maslow developed a hierarchy of needs, to show that actions of a person are motivated by their desire to meet their own needs. He believed people were driven to fulfill their personal needs, and this should be understood when designing and measuring work methods. Peter Drucker developed the concept of management by objectives in 1954, where managers and workers set goals together, working towards mutually beneficial outcomes. He aimed to remove subjectivity from setting and measuring goals, instead providing an independently measurable framework for tracking performance. And in 1992, David Norton and Robert Kaplan started creating the Balanced Scorecard, in an effort to provide objective measurements that could align business activities with the larger strategy of the organization. All of these scientific management theories recognize the contributions that workers make and strive to find a method of aligning work performance to business goals. The question is, were KPIs designed to be unfair and punishing for the worker? It doesn't appear so. Those involved in the science of management psychology that lead to the development of KPIs as a management tool, appear to have developed management theories for the benefit of both management and workers. Key performance indicators were developed to standardize how goals and objectives were set for workers and how they were subsequently measured. They were intended to take the subjectivity out of performance reviews, reward behaviors that help the business succeed, and provide positive feedback to employees. In large organizations with many people performing the same role for different managers, a standardized scorecard should result in similar scores for similarly performing workers, regardless of the manager performing the assessment, allowing for the standardization of performance expectations across the company. So while the management theories have a lot going for them, and intended to be fair and honest reflections of performance, the implementation of these theories in the business world has been severely lacking. By allowing measures and results to be subjective rather than a result of quantitative measures means there is scope for manipulation and abuse of the KPI process.
Here's my personal experience with KPIs. I was with the same division of a company for 10 years, and over that period I had 5 different managers. All of them succeeded in giving me a final KPI score within a very narrow band of between 3.92 to 3.98. No prizes for guessing where the pay rises and bonuses started on that scale. Was I just that consistent in my work performance for a decade, or was there some underlying bias in the process? The first problem was that some of the KPI results allowed for subjective scoring. And secondly, all of the managers that I had were encouraged to fit their reviews of all staff to a standard distribution curve, through the expedient means of those managers having their own KPIs set for staff wage cost control. I was a victim of competing KPIs, where my bosses were motivated to not formally recognise performance in their teams, as doing so impacted their staff costing budgets. Each of my managers somehow found the same solution, it would appear, to try and motivate me by giving me the best score they could in each annual evaluation, without impacting their budgets by awarding me a bonus or a pay rise. The unintended consequence of this for me was years of suffering ongoing imposter syndrome and stressing out on what did I need to do to improve my KPI numbers and how could I be recognised for my efforts. When the reality was my performance wasn't the issue. The game was rigged against me due to the subjectivity that was allowed when managers scored performance.
KPIs can drive poor behavior. If a task does not contribute to a KPI, then there is a disincentive to do that task. There's a saying that came out of the old school banking world, "NOMLOD, not on my list of duties." I once had a co-worker who found the KPI scoring and remuneration levels for his job and learned that moving from a score of 3, competent, to a score of 4, outstanding, resulted in an increase on his annual bonus of just 3%. He calculated that extra effort needed to hit that 4 was not worth the small bonus that it provided. The result was he targeted his work performance to the requirements to meet a KPI score of competent and refrained from any additional work hours or effort. Another example is a major bank in Australia was exposed during the inquiry of a Royal Commission. It set KPIs for its financial planners based on sales, but did not specify these sales had to come from new customers. The financial planners found a loophole and churned existing customers between investments, to the detriment of the customer and the enrichment of the financial planner through bonuses and commissions. It's very difficult to write a KPI that says, "Be a decent human being and do the right thing." When KPIs are the only metric to be met, there is an obvious temptation to game the system. So what can you do to improve how your KPIs are managed? Keep a copy of your KPIs close by, refer to them when you complete tasks. Is there anything you have done that works towards one of those KPI objectives? Maintain your own records of accomplishments and in your next review present your own results to provide some documented evidence to assist in their assessment of you. Seek regular and frequent feedback from your manager. You should have one-on-one sessions with them at least monthly. Ask questions about how you are performing against your KPIs. Take notes of those meetings and refer to them during your annual review. Ultimately, KPIs and annual reviews are a two-way street. If you are not obtaining fair recognition for your work, then you must consider changing jobs. Or even going contracting.
I'm keen to hear, how are KPIs and annual performance reviews handled in your organisations? Do these measures accurately reflect what you're expected to do in your job every day? And are your results against KPIs measured objectively and fairly? The big question, are you happy campers getting proper recognition with KPIs, or is there a better way to recognise work performance? I am the Aussie IT contractor.
And I am Brian, the text-to-speech assistant.
Thank you for watching.